Story 1. Becoming popular in college was exhilarating. I didn't have to strive for it, it seemed to come naturally. With an outgoing personality and a penchant for social events, I found myself at parties almost every week, going on dates, and enjoying the company of numerous friends. Amidst this whirlwind of social activity, there was Jocelyn, my friend from high school. An introvert by nature, Jocelyn was often overshadowed by my more extroverted companions. She would trail behind our group, attempting to blend in and emulate my behavior. Though we had been close during our earlier years, my burgeoning social status created a rift between us. Conversations became sporadic, and her presence started to feel like an intrusion. Despite recognizing her subtle beauty, others frequently mocked her appearance. My friends expressed their disdain, urging me to distance myself from her. Yet, despite my growing indifference, I always defended her right to be part of our circle. As months passed, Jocelyn began to withdraw. At the time, my friends and I felt a sense of relief at her absence. Peers would jest, asking, "Where did your little shadow go?" Shamefully, I laughed along, never pausing to consider her well-being. I continued my routine of parties and social engagements, oblivious to the struggles she faced. The bullying she endured intensified, leading to prolonged absences from school. Teachers approached me, inquiring about her whereabouts, given our known friendship. I merely shrugged, offering no insight. After a month-long absence, Jocelyn returned, but she was a shadow of her former self. Noticeably thinner, with hollow, reddened eyes hinting at sleepless nights and tears, she donned an oversized hoodie with sleeves that nearly concealed her hands. One might expect that I'd approach her, express concern, or offer support. Instead, I turned a blind eye, immersing myself further into my social life. The taunts from others escalated, cruel nicknames were hurled at her, and my friends ridiculed her relentlessly. I joined in their laughter, never once contemplating the impact of our actions. Jocelyn's condition deteriorated, her frame became more fragile, and she moved through the hallways like a ghost, devoid of vitality. Eventually, she stopped attending school altogether. We dismissed her absence, labeling it as a mere ploy for attention. That was until news broke of Jocelyn's disappearance. Suddenly, concern permeated our community. My friends, who once scorned her, now feigned worry. Missing person posters adorned the school walls, and I found myself assisting in their distribution, perhaps out of guilt. Her vanishing became the talk of our small town. Each evening, I tuned into news updates, silently hoping for her safe return. Then the dreams began. Night after night, I'd find myself on a deserted beach. There, Jocelyn's lifeless body lay washed ashore, her vacant eyes piercing into mine, as if searching my soul. She wore that same oversized hoodie, emblazoned with the words, "I miss you." I'd awaken in tears, the weight of remorse pressing heavily upon me. These visions haunted me relentlessly, a torment I knew I deserved. Even brief naps offered no respite, the same harrowing scene replayed, a constant reminder of my transgressions. My friends noticed my growing paranoia. When I confided in them about the dreams, they dismissed them, suggesting they were mere manifestations of guilt. Yet, during waking hours, I'd hear her voice, a faint whisper, unintelligible yet unmistakably hers. Our once tight-knit group began to fracture, each member grappling with their own conscience. One evening, while home alone, I immersed myself in drawing, seeking solace in art. A sudden knock at the door interrupted my focus. "Who is it?" I called out, descending the stairs. "Amber, it's Jocelyn, your bestie." The voice was distorted, unnatural. "Jocelyn. Are you okay? Oh my God. Let me in. I miss you." Overcome with concern, I hastily opened the door. The sight before me was horrifying. Jocelyn stood there, a grotesque smile on her face. A rusty knife protruded from her neck, dried blood staining her skin. She wore the hoodie from my dreams, the haunting message clear. Her body showed signs of decomposition, discolored flesh, sand entangled in her once lustrous black hair, and a nauseating odor of decay. Her once vibrant blue eyes had turned a lifeless gray, barely open. What the, Jocelyn? I gasped, stepping back in shock. You know, Amber, soon you'll be just like me. We share the same fate. Your popularity won't shield you. Eventually, no one will remember you, until you end up like this. She gestured to herself. I'm merely a reflection of you, the neglected version. But our ends are the same. She advanced toward me, the stench intensifying. You don't realize it yet, Amber. But you will. Maybe if you treated me as someone worthy, things would be different. I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over the living room table. What are you? Stay away from me. You're not Jocelyn. Panic surged through me. This is a nightmare. Wake up. Jocelyn chuckled softly. You think this isn't real? She grasped the knife, pulling it from her neck without a drop of blood. Seizing my arm, she traced a shallow cut along it. I watched, tears streaming, the pain dulled by shock. Blood welled up, trickling down. If you wake up with this mark, you'll know this is real. She laughed again. See you soon, Amber. Our souls are intertwined. The butterfly effect is real. She touched the bleeding wound, and a wave of dizziness washed over me. My vision blurred, and for a fleeting moment, her face mirrored mine. I tried to scream, to move, nothing. My legs buckled, and I collapsed. The last sounds I registered were the door closing and the distant hum of the world fading away. Morning arrived, and I awoke on the floor, head throbbing, arm aching. Memories of the previous night flooded back. Desperately hoping it was all a dream, I glanced at my arm. The cut remained, a stark testament to reality. Dried blood stained the floor. I cleaned the mess, bandaged the wound, and attempted to rest, but sleep eluded me. Now, I document this experience, seeking understanding. What did she mean by our shared fate? Has she cursed me? Is she even human? And those relentless dreams, what was their purpose? Story 2. There's something wrong with my street. Something wrong with this town. And it always starts after midnight. You'll hear it first. Laughter. Light footsteps. Children playing. Sometimes it sounds like tag. Sometimes jump rope. Sometimes, just calling out names. But no matter what, you don't open the window. You don't peek through the blinds. You never, ever go outside. I told Emily this. Warned her. But she didn't believe me. She thought it was just a dumb story I made up to scare her. She doesn't think that anymore. Because now, she's gone. Emily came to live with us in January. Her mom, my aunt, was diagnosed with leukemia. My parents said it'd just be for a while. But I could tell, by the way they talked in low, serious tones, that it was worse than they let on. Emily and her mom were close. More than close. They were all each other had. Emily and I were both in 5th grade, but we didn't really get along. She cried a lot. Barely spoke at school. We didn't like the same things. My mom told me to be patient. That she needed time. That she needed me. Our school, Community Creek Elementary, was just a block away, at the dead end of our street. A small charter school, known for its tight-knit feel and good grades. Emily got assigned to Miss Blackburn's class. The Miss Blackburn. She'd been teaching 5th grade since forever, and still somehow looked like she was in her 30s. All the boys at school made jokes, called her a MILF. But I never saw her with anyone. Never heard her talk about her life outside school. There were rumors, of course. That she was a witch. That she stayed young by feeding on kids. Just typical dumb stuff older kids made up to freak us out. Our town had lots of stories like that. But the one that always stuck with me, the one people whispered about even now, was the story of the night kids. If you hear children playing outside your window after 2 a.m., they'd say, "Don't answer. Don't speak. Don't open the door. Or they'll take you with them. It was stupid. Just another urban legend, right? One night, Emily and I were riding our bikes out front after dinner. Mom called us in, laughing. "Careful, the night kids will come get you." Emily rolled her eyes. "What night kids?" I told her the story. She laughed. "That's so dumb." "Yeah," I said. "It is. But that night, I didn't sleep well. I woke up around 2:30 a.m. At first, everything was quiet. Then I heard it. Whispers. Giggling. The steady, rhythmic slap of a jump rope hitting pavement. I sat up in bed. My chest tight. My mouth dry. Then I heard the front door. Click. Creak. Shut. I ran to Emily's room. Her bed was empty. The sheets were rumpled, pillows still warm. Panic surged through me like a jolt of electricity. I bolted downstairs. Threw open the front door. The cold air slapped me in the face. And there, across the street by the edge of the woods, I saw them. Figures. Kids. Maybe 8, maybe more. Dressed in Halloween costumes, pajamas, old-fashioned clothes. One wore a tattered party hat. Another had a 90s windbreaker. Their eyes shimmered like glass, blank and reflective. In the middle of them stood Emily. She looked dazed. Pale. Like she was sleepwalking. I screamed her name. Started running. She turned and looked at me. But there was no recognition in her face. Just a distant emptiness. Like she didn't know me anymore. One of the children took her hand. Another stepped forward, eyes locked on me. A boy in striped pajamas opened his mouth and let out a sound. It wasn't a scream. It was thousands of screams. All layered and twisted into one. A shriek that didn't just echo, it stuck inside you. I stumbled back, almost tripping. My legs moved before my brain could even catch up. I ran. When I reached our porch, I turned back. Just in time to see them disappear into the woods with Emily. She was gone. The police came. Flyers went up. They searched with dogs. Used drones. Thermal cameras. Nothing. No footprints. No signs of struggle. No Emily. And then, my aunt passed away. It was too much. For everyone. Weeks later, back at school, we started working on our legacy project. Something every 5th grade class does to leave a mark behind. This year, we were painting a mural, each of us painting a heart with our name in it. But while we were outside looking at the projects from past years, I noticed something strange. In the far corner of the playground stood an old, wooden pole. Decorated with plaster faces. Dozens of them. Stacked like a totem. Worn by time, weathered and cracked. One of the faces near the bottom caught my eye. I stepped closer. It was Emily. Frozen in time. Eyes wide. Mouth slightly open. A metal plaque below it read. 5th grade class legacy project, 1997. Guided by Miss Blackburn. That would have been Miss Blackburn's first year here. But she still looked the same. Exactly the same. That afternoon, I snuck into her classroom after school. The blinds were closed. The room silent. I crept to her desk. One drawer was slightly open. Inside, I saw something small. A plastic hair clip. Emily's. The same pink, glittery one I gave her to wear that night. The night she vanished. That night, I locked my windows. Stuffed towels under the door. Left every single light on. Still. I heard it. Giggling. Footsteps. Whispers. And then. Emily's voice. Right outside my window. She said my name. Story 3. About 3 weeks ago, I started noticing strange things during our 3 a.m. broadcast slot. We usually air old public domain movies then, nobody's watching, and it's a cheap way to fill airtime. I was half asleep in the control room when something caught my eye. A black and white western was playing. Everything seemed normal, until I saw a figure. Just a silhouette, standing in the background of a scene where I knew no one had been before. I rewound the digital file, expecting to see it again, but when I played it back, the figure was gone. I blamed the fatigue. Coffee, night shift, lack of sunlight, it all messes with your head. I've hallucinated worse while sleep deprived. But the next night, it happened again. This time during a noir film. A woman was giving a monologue in her apartment, and in the window behind her, I saw a face, staring in, watching. Just for a second, before the camera angle changed. I jumped up, rewound, and again, nothing. No face. So I started recording our broadcasts on my phone. Maybe it was some weird transmission glitch, I thought. But the recordings always came out clean. Only the live monitor showed the strange moments. They weren't always the same. Sometimes I saw background figures moving out of sync. Sometimes people in the scene would glance at the camera, just for a heartbeat, as if they were aware I was watching. Sometimes faces would blur, or flicker into something else entirely. And then things escalated. Last week, we aired Night of the Living Dead during the 3 a.m. slot. Halfway through, one of the zombies turned to the camera, and their mouth moved. It wasn't part of the film. I've seen that movie dozens of times. There was no audio, but I read the lips clearly. "We see you watching." I froze. Grabbed my phone. Started recording. But when I played it back, nothing. Just a normal zombie shuffle. I told my supervisor. He laughed. "Classic night shift stuff," he said. "Take some vitamin D. You're probably just low on sunlight." Maybe he was right. But I didn't want to switch shifts. That was the strange part. As scared as I felt, I was being pulled in. Like something wanted me to keep watching. 4 nights ago, I had a breakthrough. I realized, the anomalies didn't appear on the digital files. Only on the broadcast feed. So I set up a second monitor connected directly to our antenna. One screen showed the studio output. The other, the live broadcast. That night, we aired The Maltese Falcon. What I saw on those 2 screens was different. Tiny differences at first. Camera angles lingering too long. Background extras standing unnaturally still. And Bogart's eyes. Pitch black. No whites. No pupils. Just darkness. I started documenting everything. Took photos of both screens. And finally, I had proof. You could see the differences clear as day. Someone, or something, was hijacking our signal. Altering the broadcast. Making changes. I planned to show it to the morning staff. Stayed until 6 a.m. to talk to the day shift manager. She arrived and looked at me strangely. "Alex," she said. "What are you doing here? You're not on the schedule until tonight." "I just finished my shift," I said. She frowned. Showed me the schedule on her tablet. I wasn't listed. Not for last night. Not for the night before. Not for any shift in the past 2 weeks. But I had been there. I knew I had. I reached for my phone, to show the photos. The recordings. But, they were gone. My phone's storage was empty. Except for one message. Sent from my own number. At 3:17 a.m. It simply read. "It's replacing US 1 by 1. I don't remember sending that message. I left the station in a daze. When I got home, my key didn't work. I tried again and again, nothing. Then my neighbor opened her door. She looked at me like I was a stranger. 'Hey, "Are you looking for Alex?" she asked. "He moved out 2 weeks ago." "Are you a friend of his?" I stared at her. We'd lived next door for 3 years. And she didn't recognize me. I didn't answer. Just walked away. I'm writing this now from a motel room. I bought a new laptop today. Started this file from scratch. No backups. No cloud. Just me and this one last story. Because I think it's spreading. It's not just about the signal anymore. Tonight, at 3 a.m., every TV in town will be tuned to that movie slot. All those glowing screens. All those eyes half asleep, flipping channels. They'll be watching. And something. We'll be watching back. I'm going back to the station tonight. I don't know what I'll find. I don't even know if I will still be me by morning. But if you live in a small town with a local station, do me a favor. Don't watch anything that airs at 3 a.m. And if you see someone who looks exactly like you, run.